After some months, Jungkook leaned against the doorframe, watching Ryan dance and cook with a soft smile on his face. She was completely oblivious to his presence, and he took a moment to admire her blissfully unaware beauty. As he observed her, he clutched the bouquet of flowers tightly in his hand, the smile on his face growing a little wider. Before she entered his life, he had been a hardened, cold-hearted mafia lord. But now she had brought laughter and warmth into his otherwise grim existence. She had changed him in ways he never thought possible. Over the past month, he had found himself falling deeper and harder for her. He had not expected to develop such strong feelings for her, but he couldn't deny the way his heart arched when she was near and longed for her when she was away. It was a strange and foreign sensation for him, and he wasn't sure how to handle it. He slowly and quietly walked up behind her, his arms wrapping around her waist from behind, enveloping her in a warm embrace. He buried his face in his hair, inhaling her sweet scent and releasing the feeling of her body against his. Jungkook, what are you cooking, darling? He mumbled into her neck, his voice dripping with affection. She gave a small startled yelp as Jungkook's arm encircled her waist, not having heard him approach. But as soon as she recognized his touch, she relaxed into his embrace, a soft smile spreading across her lips. Vine, you scared me, she implemented gently, turning her head slightly to glance over her shoulder at him. How long have you have been there? He chuckled softly, amused by her reaction. Jungkook. Not long, he replied, his voice warm and teasing. Just long enough to watch you dancing and cooking. You looked adorable, by the way. She felt a wave of self-consciousness wash over her, her cheeks warming at his words. Ryan, you were watching me? She asked, a hint of embarrassment in her voice. I must have looked like a total fool. Chunk nonsense, he murmured, nuzzling his face into her hair. You look beautiful. You always do. His arm tightened around her, pulling her even closer against him. Her heart fluttered at his heartfelt words, her embarrassment melting away. She leaned back against him, savoring the warmth and comfort of his embrace. Van, you really think so? She asked, her voice soft but hopeful. Jungkook, I know so, he affirmed, his voice filled with conviction and don't ever doubt it. He pressed a light kiss to the side of her neck, his lips lingering for a moment. She shivered at the contact, a small gasp escaping her lips. She couldn't help the way her body responded to his touch, her heart racing at his gentle yet possessive affection. When you're being awfully affectionate, she pointed out, a hint of tease in her tone. Jungkook, is that a complaint? Jungkook asked, his lips curving into a smirk against her skin. He tightened his arms around even further, practically enveloping her in his embrace, his chest pressed against her back. She laughed softly, enjoying the way he held her so protectively and possessively. Why, no, not a complaint, she assured, her voice slightly breathless from the tightness of his hold. Just making an observation. His voice grew almost reverent as he spoke, his words filled with a quiet intensity. Jungkook, it's not my fault, he murmured, his lips brushing against her ear. You came into my life and turned it completely upside down. You're like a drug, and I am addicted to you. I can't go a moment without thinking of you, without wanting to be near you. I have fallen harder for you than I ever thought possible. Over the past few weeks, she had gradually noticed the change in his demeanor. He never failed to express his love and affection for her. Every day he would find new ways to remind her of how much she meant to him. He cooked her favorite meals, gave her small yet thoughtful gifts, and often surprised her with compliments and sweet gestures. It was a stark contrast to the cold, intimidating persona he presented to the outside world, and it warmed her heart to know that she was the only one who got to see the softer side of him. Wine, I am glad, she said, turning in his arms to face him. Who knows that approaching a moody, suspicious guy at a coffee shop would lead to this? He gave her a bemused look, his eyebrows arched in playful annoyance. Jungkook, you followed me, remember? He said, you just wouldn't give up. You were like a stubborn little puppy, pestering me until I finally gave in. She feigned innocence, her eyes widening in a creative surprise. When me, following you, I have no idea what you are talking about. She tried to maintain a straight face, but a sly smile tugged at the corner of her lips, betraying her feigned ignorance. He chuckled, seeing through her act. Jungkook, don't play coy, he said, his voice holding a hint of affectionate disbelief. You were like a little shadow trailing after me everywhere I went. I couldn't get rid of you even I wanted to. She laughed, her eyes sparkling with amusement and affection. When, hey, I am just being friendly, she protested, her voice filled with mock defensiveness. It's not my fault, you were too grumpy to appreciate my company. Jungkook, friendly, huh? He retorted, a smirk tugging at his lips. Is that what you call it when you follow someone around like a lost puppy? And after that, she playfully swatted at his chest, her hand making a light thud against him. He chuckled, the sound deep and warm. He wrapped his arms around her tighter, pulling her close against his chest. Jungkook, but I wouldn't have it any other way, he said, his voice soft but firm. He nuzzled his face into her hair, inhaling deeply, swallowing her scent. I may tease you about feeling clingy, but the trust is I love it. I love having you around, always wanting my attention. It makes me feel like the luckiest man alive. He gently pressed a kiss to her forehead, his lips lingering for a moment before he spoke. Jungkook, the word love doesn't even come closer to describing how I feel about you. He confessed, his voice thick with emotion. It's not enough. You're not just someone I love. You're everything to me. You're my reason for breathing, my reason for being. I don't know how I ever lived without you before. She reached up, cupping his face in her hand, her thumbs tracing over his cheeks. When you don't know what you are doing to me, she murmured, her voice barely a whisper. You make me feel things I never knew were possible. You make me believe in fairy tales. He captured one of her hands in his, bringing it to his lips and brushing a kiss over her knuckle. Changuk, you're my fairy tale, he said quietly, his eyes locked on hers. You're the princess. I may not be a prince, he murmured, his grip on her waist tightening. I may not the hero or the knight in shining armor. I am a beast, a selfish, possessive beast, and if it comes to it, I would destroy this entire world to keep you safe and happy. Her arms tightened around him in a fierce embrace, her head resting against his chest. His words had touched something deep within her soul, stirring a maelstrom of emotions. Mine. You may be a beast, she whispered, her voice a soft yet determined murmur, but you are my beast, and have no intentions of letting you go. As they clung tightly to each other, the food sizzling on the stove completely forgotten. The outside world faded away, and nothing mattered in that moment but the love and comfort of being in each other's arms.